either India or other places to be treated. We have been, given the narratives that all the facilities are there, but they are not there. I can tell you the hospitals we have in our country, they do not have even medicine. We do not have even enough money to pay our doctors. They are on strike. What do you do with your loved ones when your doctors are on strike because the government has not paid them? And somebody said that we cannot meet somewhere and contribute money to take our beloved ones to hospitals. It is those people who do not have feelings for others. I want to totally agree with Ambrose Kwenda that this quagmire is coming because Ruto has come up and everybody fears that when Ruto is going to do an Arambe here, he's going to do Arambe there, he's popularizing himself. I would encourage them, if Ruto today goes to Mavioya, let them go to Mwingi and do some Arambe for those boys who are there. They so need those wheelbarrows. They so need those border borders. They need the pro boxes. They need their lives to go on. There are people who do not have food on their table. So let us not talk about banning Arambes or controlling them. You cannot control them. It is a willing giver. And even Campbell has just quoted the Bible. It says, blessed is the hand which gives.
Now, speaking of giving and money, there's a headline here. It's a very interesting one on the Daily Nation this morning. It says, a loans shocker for borrowers. Now, COVID-19 relief. There was some measures that were taken to ensure people in business, people who owed loans to SACCOs and banks were having a holiday period where that would allow them to survive and not have the pressure of having to pay loans. Now, we're told here on the front page, the devil is in the details, apparently, and thousands of Kenyans who took advantage of a loan repayment holiday offered by banks, SACCOs and other financial institutions are learning this the hard way after they discovered that their debts continued to accumulate interest during the relief period or a relief from COVID period. And more details are inside the paper. But Mr. Weda, what do you make of this, and do they have any hope as far as seeking redress on this matter? Because a lot of people were thankful, even though some felt more could have been done for this sort of holiday that was given to them financially. So what do you make of this one, and what can they do?
Thank you so much. I advised my clients at that time, those who asked my views, I told them, don't believe that joke. It's a fat, sinful joke that you should not believe. If government wanted to give anybody relief, they would have passed what is called COVID-19 relief law, under which now they provided that within this period there'll be rent waiver, there will be interest waiver, there will be stay on interest, and so on and so forth. It is not a speech given either at State House or by a minister. These are contracts that are backed by law. If you are in somebody's house, these are contracts. If you have borrowed money, it is a contract backed by law. To vary it, either government had to pass legislation or there is an individual agreement between you and the fellow contractor. This was not done. So these were platitudes. They were like sermons which are being preached and people don't understand. So whoever relied on it, you will cry. You will cry because even government did not mean it. If it meant it, they would have passed law. There was no law. Mr. Weda. It's a sad situation. It's very bad. But I've always said that what God wanted us to do is to be wise, seek wisdom of all you are seeking. So many people took shortcuts, and that they will pay. Then there's no bank who will give you a reprieve unless you are a big fellow. You can sit across the table with the managers and negotiate. But Anyango Wanjiku, if you want to know that there will be no reprieve, look at your full Lisa account. There was nothing. Look at your Msuari debt. Those are the debts that Wanjiku's borrow. There was no reprieve. So unless there is legislation passed today, negotiate individually. Otherwise, you will pay in full and you will be crucified, fried. Okay. Let me say just something on Arambis. Even the big US presidential candidates raise money by way of Arambi. It's only that there it is not called Arambi, but they sit together and they raise money by way of Arambi. So coming to cheat us here that you'll have to go and talk to somebody, beg him to allow you, and then they don't allow you. We are long past that stage. And even if you pass such a legislation, it will be unconstitutional. We will challenge it and it will be struck down.
Okay. Now, far from that, let's here's a sentiment from one of a business owner. He's called Mr. Njiru, who was running Bucket List Adventures, or a tour company in short. He says, I would not have signed up if I knew I would eventually pay more. Mr. Njiru is echoing the sentiments of many unsuspecting borrowers who aimed to take advantage of the relief program. Now, banks appear to have taken advantage of a broad guideline by the CBK, which allowed the lenders to restructure loans by either freezing interest payments or fees, or offering a moratorium on interests or the principal repayment. Honorable Mutambo, what's your take on this one?
I have been a victim of bank loans. Let me confess this. And what I want to tell Kenyans is that not only the coronavirus, even when you are borrowing the loan itself, I want to beseech you to look at the agreement. That agreement paper is written in a very small letters that you cannot even read. They only take you to the page of signing. They only tell you, sign here, and they give you a big document, a voluminous document, with a very tiny font that you cannot even read without magnifying glasses. What is the motive of all this, if I ask? They want to rob you, because that is where they get the money. And it is very true that these are contractual commitment which you committed. And for you to come out from that, it can only be done through a set of law, because they are operating within some laws, and they are regulated by central bank. And that law which they are using, it says that if you do not pay, they will come for your court. Whether you have any loan and you thought that now coronavirus is here, I'm not going to pay, my dear brother, I can see you have a very beautiful library behind you. They will come for it, and they will auction those books for even 1 shilling, without even taking a valuation of those books, without even telling you how much they collected. Banks, what happens in this country, banks are like robbers. They rob you without violence. They take you out everything. You buy a house for 50 million, they will come and sell it for 5 million. And I do not know where they get the guts of selling that house for 5 million, yet you bought that house for 50 million. The law should be very clear that if they take a house of 50 million, because they give you 50% of that house, they should not, once they sell your house, they should not ask you for anything else. But they will sell your house, and they will come for your clothes and shoes, what you are wearing. So this is like robbery without violence. And I want to tell Kenyans that when you are taking loans, be very careful with banks and with the lenders, because they have a very soft and sweet talk when they are approaching you. But the moment you take it, my dear Kenyan, your problems start there. And I can tell you how many people I know who have committed suicide because of the banks. So I think it is high time that we look into our laws. In fact, when we are talking about BBI, we need also to make sure that BBI cushions our economic crimes committed by some of the institutions. So the place they need to send the DCI, it is not to Arambis. They need to send DCI to the banking sector and ask them questions. Why do you write these application forms with a very tiny font, and why don't you come out open? And why do you auction somebody once you give them a loan with a property which is perceived to be a collateral enough to cover your money in case of any default? So we have a lot of gaps in the banking sector where Kenyans are suffering a lot. And my take is that, dear Kenyans, I'm so sorry. If you thought that COVID will cushion you on anything, it will not. You'll have to pay.
Before we run out of time, Honorable Mutambo, I'd like us to jump onto another one that is here for another story, page 3 of the Standard. If you live in Nairobi, this should interest you. And we are told there's a new list of punishable offences, and I'll go through them quite quickly. Living or sleeping in a room in which food is prepared is an offence. You shall be serving a 6-month jail term if you're caught doing that. Then we're told leaving a vehicle or anything that causes obstruction shall be paying 15,000 shillings or a 12-month jail. Touting for passengers is an offence. Hawking, selling, distributing or advertising or on anything in public roads or streets shall be is an offence now, and another 6-month jail term or 10,000 shilling fine. Driving motorcycles or vehicle on a footpath and then spitting or blowing your nose on the ground, that shall be is now a punishable offence. You shall be facing 6 months in jail or a 10,000 shilling fine. This is all being put together, this list of laws to restore order in the city. Mr. Weda, do you think they shall succeed?
The bylaws have been there. They are not new, although now that they have been dusted from wherever, they are now being, they look new, but the bylaws have been there since time immemorial against spitting, obstruction, all this is advertising. You're supposed to pay for them, hawking, and but when politics came, when popularity politics came, people did not have the moral authority to stop people from doing these things. They are good. They are good, but it's not the fine point value that we will find you this. It is actually to let people know that it is good to keep your environment clean, to keep your city orderly, and to do things in a way that the city looks beautiful. That is what it is. So we should not be more focused about the fines and collecting money. We should be more focused about a working city, a healthy city, and so on. There are some of them they love to review, like sleeping where food is prepared. It doesn't know how people live. Us, we don't mind if you sleep in that day and you prepare clean food. That is our special circumstances, our special difficulties. But there should be no reason why you should throw litter on the ground. There's no reason why you should obstruct, and so on and so on. So some are good, some are not very good. But if you just bring them like a military, then you shall know people. We will meet you where you are, and some people will tell you, we were here before you were born. Therefore, don't push us too hard. Just allow me just to put a small point that Job talks about loans. God, your creator trick says, a borrower is a slave to the lender. Let Kenyans be very reluctant in taking loans for Lisa and Zwari, whatever. I, as whether I have never taken a bank loan. The nearest I've taken is a SACCO loan from the Law Society of Kenya SACCO. People who I can talk to and tell them, don't finish me. The nearest I've taken is from Cusco. 2, only don't live your life borrowing left, right, and center kiosk. This banks are sharks. They will squeeze blood out of you.
Yeah, very, very important to note, and very that's a word to the wise. Now, Honorable Mutambo, briefly on these laws, we're told that if it also puts on notice protesters who light fires on the roads. We know how this country gets sometimes when people are not happy with the status quo. Those fires are seen everywhere at times. What do you make of this, and whether or not we now have the moral authority to enforce these laws?
It is very true that bylaws exist in every country, and for every country to prosper, there must be bylaws. Otherwise, people will be doing whatever they want. But it also reflects our social behavior. And what I would want to urge the counties is that if you do not want people to litter, make the city clean. If I come to your house and I see your house is clean, I'm even scared to walk in it with my shoes on. I want to remove my shoes and leave them outside. But if I find your house is dirty, I'll walk in with my shoes. That is as simple as that. It is a modality. So if I find our street in the city, they are like dumping sites, and you are telling me not to litter. And what is there opposite me is garbage all over. What is the difference between what I'm littering and what is there? So make the city clean, then now tell people not to litter. Because the moment you make the city clean, we will scare away people. I will be scared to litter where I see it has been swept and it is clean. Nobody will do that. It is a social, a behavior of human being. No human being will just throw trash where there is no trash. Most of them, they throw trashes where there are trashes. But I understand that, yes, we have people who, even when they are driving, I've never seen where to do this, but they throw even they drink some whatever drinks, and then they throw away their bottles or the containers outside their cars, and they go out. They don't mind where they are going. Those are behaviors which we should not condone. So yes, laws are there, but also we also have to filter these laws when they say when people sleep where food is prepared. What are you talking about? Are you talking about restaurants, or are you talking about those people who live in the city? Because when you talk about do not prepare food where you see, sleep where you prepare food, there are those people who live in one single room. Right. Are they affected in these laws or they are not? So the law must be very explicit before we even talk about it. They need to understand what they want to give to people. If they are, bringing these laws because of the business people, yes, maybe it would be okay. But it is also another thing when I said we don't care whether you sleep there and tomorrow you give us good food. It does not matter where you sleep. If you are dirty, you are dirty. You can sleep in a different room and you wake up dirty and you come and prepare food for people. So health is very important, whether you sleep in that place or you don't sleep in that place.
Honorable Mtambo, I have to cut you short. We've run out of time. But on the other side of this, we shall be discussing the drumbeats of the BBI and, of course, coronavirus, the spike. The CS is pointing an accusing finger at the political class for this upsurge in, of course, infections and their behavior in general. We asked you on Twitter, do you support the resumption of the BBI campaign rallies? Amatrix Ingado, Michael G. Gitonga. The hashtag to use is KTN Morning Express. The views are already coming in. Seward Nixon says, no, let's fight COVID-19 first. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the show.